Morning,
Morning. Welcome to the Gauteng South Branch Librarians Day. I would like to welcome you all to our Librarians Day event today. Yes. In our Librarians Day event today, we are blessed with the presence of Ms. Nobuntu Mpendulo from City of Johannesburg Libraries and Professor Makhatlela from University of Limpopo. Ms. Nobuntu Mpendulo is a director at City of Johannesburg Libraries. And then Professor Makhatlela, he's a senior lecturer for information studies from University of Limpopo. Yes, I would like to welcome you all once more on our Librarians Day event, where we'll be having a dialogue, which our host will be participating and also sharing within the dialogue, which will also allow us to engage within the dialogue. And then as our topic it said, it's the skill set required for libraries of the future, the impact of AI technologies on libraries and librarians. Yes, so our event today, or should I say our Librarians Day today, yes, it's centered around that topic of AI, what's happening within the AI. I was just welcoming you just to also prepare the setting. Welcome once more. Without any waste of time, family, I would like to open the platform for our guests, Ms. Nompendulo, the director of City of Johannesburg Libraries. Yes, so that she shares with us on a presentation about what's been happening or what's transpiring within the skill set required for libraries of the future and the impact of artificial technologies on libraries and librarians. Thank you. The platform is yours, Ms. Nompendulo, the director of City of Johannesburg Libraries.
Good morning, colleagues. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Director.
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm gonna share something quickly. Also, can I say Happy Librarians Day to all the librarians? Also understanding that despite the fact that the world is against you, librarianship is still one of the most noble and important professions. I'm trying to share my screen just for us to, before I even go to the skill sets and everything else, just to get an understanding of what do we mean when we talk about artificial intelligence. Because I think this is a topic that comes out in a number of platforms. I mean, whenever you open any platform, online platform, there's always this issue about artificial intelligence. Let me try and share the screen. Can you see the screen from your side, Sfiso?
Yes, we see the screen.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. I think it is important for us to understand what artificial intelligence is. Firstly, I think it's when the computer is able, a computer or either a machine performs tasks that are associated with human intelligence. What does that mean? It means the computer can act and think rationally like a human being. But this intelligence, it is simulated onto the machines or computers, and they are programmed to learn and mimic the human actions. Why do we have artificial intelligence? It is specifically to aid capabilities of humans and help in making advanced decisions with far-reaching consequences. What it actually means is that as humans, the machines can then assist us in making some of the decisions that ordinarily will take a long time for us to reach. It also enables humans to do away with hard labor, because some of the jobs can then be done by the machines or the robots, especially in manufacturing. I think you all know that currently in most of the car manufacturing, there's a lot of robotics that are being used. And also in the health sector, some of the operations can be done by the machines, by the robots, with very, very little, the margin of error is very, very little. And also, if we have artificial intelligence, it means it then improves efficiencies, it automates resources, especially for the heavy tasks, and it makes business predictions based on hard data, something that human beings could take, some time to do. Is it a threat? I don't think it is a threat, but it depends on the organization or the employee's agility in adopting or adapting to change. I mean, we know human beings by their nature, it's very difficult for them to adapt to change. But if you operate in a learning organization, that is an organization that encourages continuous learning, AI might not be a threat. Maybe just to address the issue of threats. If you look at the document in front of you, I did some research on an international platform just to check how far AI has impacted on a number of industries. According to Fortune.com, in May 2023, 3,900 jobs were lost directly attributed to technology. And all these jobs were replaced by AI. Then we can ask ourselves questions as to how is it going to be possible for us to keep our jobs? In the South African environment, we also know that, especially just before COVID, and especially as a result of COVID-19, a lot of jobs were lost, especially in the banks, in insurance companies, and also in retail, because some of the jobs, it could be easier for you to work from home using a machine. A job that previously would be done by 4 people might just be done by 1 person if there is the assistance of artificial intelligence. And I think when I address the issue of the threat, there's a prediction that in future, artificial intelligence will replace doctors, it will replace accountants, lawyers, educators, and I've actually added librarians there, lecturers, researchers, and even CEOs of companies. If you remember, colleagues, during COVID-19, a lot of us thought that teaching and learning was not going to happen because of the hard lockdown. And what immediately happened was online teaching, online learning. And as librarians, we had to adapt very quickly. And with the issue of the working from home, which actually became a new normal, we were able to perform most of the tasks that we would ordinarily do face-to-face using technology. Meetings via MS Teams, online shopping, online banking. But we also need to ask ourselves, if AI is a threat, which jobs will be shed? And what are the jobs of the future? We need to interrogate the skill sets that are required. And that will make us rethink how we're gonna upskill our employees. Is it an opportunity? Definitely so. It has brought so much convenience in our lives. And it is creating new jobs while eliminating the others. I think the issue is that whilst the old jobs are being shed, new jobs are being created by artificial intelligence. There's another example, Bloomberg, 3,651 new AI-related jobs were advertised by JP Morgan between February and April 2023. What it means is that whilst we are losing some of the jobs, we are getting new jobs. Many companies are not getting rid of employees, but they rather use AI to help employees work smarter. So the issue is really about how do we assist our employees to work smarter and also create efficiencies and increase productivity. But we need to understand, colleagues, that with technology, we need to work smarter. Reality is that artificial intelligence is here, and the computer applications and systems are becoming intelligent. They are going to impact our lives both positively and negatively. And unfortunately, for most of us, we are so scared of artificial intelligence because we actually think that it's not going to happen in our lifetime. I mean, we look at our facilities. I'm thinking of a rural library that is sitting in Porti, where on a continuous basis, you experience issues of load shedding, you experience issues of connectivity. When the community around that particular facility cannot even afford the basic services, and you ask yourselves, how could AI replace a job of that librarian? Just to share, so that you understand that artificial intelligence is a reality and it is happening in our lifetime. It is no longer happening in the future. What are the current uses of AI that everybody is familiar with? When you search on Google, Google already applies the predictive search algorithm. When you're typing, even before you finish the word, already Google uses the past data to predict such terms whilst you are typing. You will be typing librarian already. Google is showing you what are the main keywords that you could choose from. Netflix, it's one of the areas where artificial intelligence is used a lot. If you watch a movie, the next time you open Netflix, it already gives you a recommendation of the movies you can watch based on the past. Facebook also uses past data to recommend friends based on facial features. Amazon and other e-commerce apps, they make recommendation on past purchases by you or other people. So anything that you've bought, they can then, when you go back and search, they will give you the recommendation. Eskom, banks, insurance companies, colleague, they use chatbots. I'm not sure whether you are familiar with Eskom's Alfred. You go through that Eskom app, and then Alfred will say, ask Alfred a question. It will communicate with you. It is already happening. The issues of voice recognition, face recognition, with Discovery, for instance, it will say, ask Discovery. Then you communicate with the chatbot until your issue has been resolved. Navigation, we all know with Google Maps, with Waze, you know, it is easier for you to go wherever you want to go using those maps, although sometimes there's a margin of error there. Frequently asked questions, it's also another example where artificial intelligence is used. Maybe just to finish off, when we think artificial intelligence, let's think of online shopping apps, banking apps, insurance apps, social media, medical, robotics, self-driving cars. You've seen that ESCOM chatbot and facial recognition that can be used for security purposes. I'm sure you know, colleagues, now, some of the banks, when you're opening your app or you want to change some transaction, it will ask you to take a photo using your phone so that they determine whether this is you. And in most cases, if your original photo was taken with glasses or without glasses, it will say, I don't recognize you, please take off the glasses. Online gaming, also the call centers colleagues that irritate us on a daily basis. I'm sure you are aware that in most cases, you get that call from a call center and you actually recognize later that you are actually talking to a machine, not a human being. So these computers, colleagues, now have become very intuitive and they can do a number of things that could be done by humans. And somehow this has become a threat to the institutions and to a number of people as they lose their jobs. Can I stop there for now? Maybe I can continue later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director from City of Johannesburg Libraries, Ms. Nompendulo, for sharing a wonderful presentation, so that at least now we're going to engage in a dialogue after our professor also just shared a bit, so that we can all start engaging into such. And thank you so much, Director, for creating a wonderful setting, and also for reminding us that we're already using artificial intelligence, even though we may be thinking that, no, it's still coming into future, but we're already using it when we're doing online shoppings, when we're engaging with chat box. Thank you so much. I would like to also just to give a prof the opportunity from University of Limpopo, Professor Makhatlela, so that we all at least have a picture on why today are we celebrating Librarians Day, and then on why did we choose such kind of a topic, and also sub-themes about artificial intelligence, because the future is now. It's no more about tomorrow, but it's here. So we need to move with times. Professor Makhatlela, the platform is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbambo, and good morning to all the colleagues in the field. I'm very happy to have been invited to this event of celebrating South African Librarians Day. It gives me a pleasure also to be speaking to you about some of the things that affect us as library professionals, especially with the introduction of artificial intelligence in the library. The previous speaker have taken some of the things that I wanted to talk about. I don't know how she managed to get my question papers, but I can just say the question paper has leaked now, because a lot of things that I wanted to talk about, she has already talked about, but I'll try to add some of the things that she may have not talked about. We are living in a new era now, where the way people have been working and the way people have been going on with their lives is changing due to the introduction of the artificial intelligence. The world that we live in is evolving, and also our profession has been affected by this. Artificial intelligence is transforming various fields and industries across the world, and library information science services is not exempted. the AI is also disrupting and will continue to disrupt the way we're doing things, the way we learn, and the way we work. And we need to embrace this AI because unfortunately, as library and information professionals, we need to understand that this AI is here to stay. Just recently, I was invited by Gauteng North to speak to them about the fourth industrial revolution in the library. As I was preparing for this talk, I realized that we are more or less talking about the same thing. But here we are very specific on what is it that we are referring to. We are talking about the artificial intelligence. When we look at companies and how they operate, every day things are changing. I recently visited a friend in Johannesburg in 4 weeks, and in the morning while we just waking up, there were people coming from Checkers who were delivering food for breakfast. And I was surprised. And he said that, no, you just place an order. And how he was doing it was very easy and straightforward. We do have that in our branch here in Polokwane, but I've never used it. And I realized that there are so many things that are changing that we need to adapt as people of this province. And some of those things are already happening in Gauteng. I know that the University of Johannesburg has recently introduced their robotic librarian called Pepper. The National Library of South Africa have also introduced FISO. And I know that the University of Pretoria was the first one to start with Libby, who was also a robot librarian at the University of Pretoria Library. So those are some of the things that shows that there are changes in our field and we need to adapt to those changes and we need to embrace those changes. Now, I quickly want to talk about some of the challenges that we as librarians are facing in adopting these new technologies that have to be introduced in the library. As this new technology emerges, there's often a discussion about how librarians' role will change in relation to it. This conversation has become especially relevant with the introduction of this new artificial intelligence in library information services. Now, some of the challenges that we can talk about, the first one that I'm sure everybody will agree with me is one that we are facing is resistance to change. We as librarians are scared of introducing this artificial intelligence in our library. We have some little bit of resistance to change. And I've heard a lot of librarians, and especially those that are still new in the field, complaining that this artificial intelligence is going to take away their jobs. And that is not true. Instead, it's going to create new job opportunities. It's going to bring new field that we have never had in library information services. But most importantly, it is going to help us, as the previous speaker have already indicated, to improve on our services that we are providing to our users. It's important that we align our services with the needs of the users. And if you look at how we are doing it, I just gave you an example about how people are ordering food through Checkers and also Woolworths. It's so easy and straightforward. We need to move to a stage where we introduce Uber food in libraries, where people can be able to order books from your library while they're at home. You issue those books and then you send them through to them through the Uber food Uber drivers to deliver to their houses. And that is something that we realize that people are getting used to it. People don't want to go out. I'm sure it was even worse when it was called in the last few days, where some people who love reading would want to have a book in their hand while they are sitting at home. But having to walk from their house to the library was also something that they were scared of. So at least it was going to help them. So as librarians, we need to start to embrace this new change and accept that the changes are going to be there as much as they are there in all the fields. I've seen with many companies these days, there's just this, I'll call them the courier guys that are traveling around town every day. They're delivering goods to us. We're no longer doing the normal shopping that we used to do, where we go to shops and move around the shelves. These days, you sit on your desk and you order whatever you want, and then they deliver it to you. So we as librarians also need to understand that at some stage in our career, we need to change towards this new ways of delivering services to our users. Okay, the other thing that we can talk about as also another challenge is financial challenges. Financial challenges. When you look at the cost of artificial intelligence, it's very high. Of course, we are struggling with money to buy books. We are struggling with money to buy our electronic journals and any other information resources in our libraries. So it's going to be even more difficult if we have to invest more money in buying this artificial intelligence. But unfortunately, we cannot be left behind while all the sectors of the economy are moving towards that artificial intelligence. We as library information professionals also need to move towards that artificial intelligence. So it is time that we start putting together the budget. In our budget, we some of those tools that we will need to implement artificial intelligence. I know that there are other organizations. I don't know if the National Library still have that system where the books goes through the, I don't know what they call it, where they put it in the, I can't remember what they call it. Maybe someone can help me. There's a tunnel that they put books inside. And if you are sending the books to level 3, you just press 3, and then you put the books there. Then it takes, once you catalog a book, send it to where it has to be processed. When the books are returned, sometimes if they are damaged or they need to go to preservations, they just put the books in the tunnel. And I know UNISA also have something like that where people that are sending books through post, they will go to the shelves, collect books, and send them down to the delivery services where the books will be delivered to the users that are required. So those are some of the things that we need to understand that we are going to have to use and we're going to have to adopt. Of course, they need the money, and that is why I'm talking about the financial challenges. Okay, the third challenge that we can talk about is the poor networks. We are having a problem in South Africa where our network is not stable. But not only that it's not stable, but it's not even strong enough to accommodate this artificial intelligence. And I've seen with us here at the University of Limpopo, from time to time when all students are on campus and they are busy with the internet, you find that it becomes slow. But not only that, I mean, people that are in rural area are struggling with these networks on a daily basis. So that is also another problem. But the other challenge that will also be linked to the poor network could be the issue of load shedding. And we have a problem in South Africa where when there's load shedding, one of the biggest challenges that we come across is that the network start to become poor or it goes away because of load shedding. And that is also something that we can say that these two are interrelated in the sense that when there's no electricity, obviously the network will be poor or will be slow, something like that. So those two challenges is going to also make it difficult to provide services to our users. Of course, we can talk about generators, which will be, I mean, the backup will assist us to make sure that we provide continuous services as library and information services professionals. But unfortunately, not every organization will be able to afford this backup. And I know most of the community libraries in the Limpopo province do not have backup. So when there's no electricity, then they have to close. And sometimes you find that it's even dark. I'm very happy that I saw on the social media, and I must commend people from Johannesburg City libraries who are working with in libraries like your Santen Library and also Randburg Library. They're doing very well. But I saw on the social media that the Randburg Library was getting a donation of a backup system, which was very good. I really commended the librarians for going out and looking for assistance. Because some of the things that we need as library information professionals in our library, if we cannot afford, and I've talked about the issue of financial challenge, if we don't have financial resources to buy them, we can also go out and request for donations, which will come handy, and it will also help us to our services and make sure that we have a continuous services to the users. I've already spoken about the financial challenges, but the other thing is the issue of the high cost of these technologies. Despite that we don't have enough financial resources to buy these technologies, the other challenge is that these technologies themselves are very expensive. It's going to be difficult for most libraries to be able to afford this technology. I know that I used to speak to the guy who holds this FISO at the NLSA, and he always tell me how much it costs them to have that FISO in the library. And those are very good technologies that we need, but they come at a very high cost. And with our libraries struggling with the, the budget cuts that we've seen in many organizations, it's going to be difficult for us to ask for more money. Okay, outdated systems is also another challenge. Most of us are struggling with the systems that are outdated, that are not compatible with the current system. So you may find that you have your robotic librarian in your library, but the system that you have are not compatible to the new system that has been installed on the robot librarian. So it is always a challenge for us. But it is even worse in rural libraries. I mean, we have libraries in Northwest, and I know some libraries in the province and in Malacca who do not have the systems. They depend on CETA to provide them with the library systems, and things are not going well with that system that they bought. And now I heard that they are changing to a new system. So there's always a problem with the library systems in our library. But the issue of outdated system is a big concern to most librarians. As much as we can also talk about the outdated system, we need to also understand that we don't have enough infrastructure. So our infrastructure are inadequate to accommodate this new artificial intelligence, because they need a lot of infrastructure. You can talk about your electric infrastructure. It's already a problem, and you can imagine how expensive it would be. I mean, you are busy with your FISO, and then boom, there's no electricity. You have to restart, and you have to reprogram sometimes. There's some logistics that involves the infrastructure that if we are not be careful with these new technologies, we might end up actually losing more money because of our poor infrastructure. But you can also talk about the network. I mean, most of the time when we are busy with these technologies, you find that the network is poor, the network is not coming on board, and that will cause delay, and it can also cause the system to damage the artificial intelligence tools that we are using. Okay, the other challenge that we can talk about is the increased vulnerability to cybersecurity threats. These things are putting our security at risk, especially with regards to cybersecurity, because they are accessible by everyone around the world. So they always increase our threats to the cyber attack. So those are some of the challenges that we can talk about when we talk about the adoption and embracing of the artificial intelligence in library information services. I must also indicate that we can also apply this artificial intelligence to many areas in libraries. Despite all those challenges that I've talked about, there are benefits that when I personally look at the benefits that we can get from introducing this artificial intelligence, I'm happy to tell you that it's better to adopt this artificial intelligence in libraries, and the benefits will be minimum as compared to, the threats are minimum as compared to the benefits. But some of the things that we can do with this artificial intelligence is the following. Like, for example, the reference services. Although this is one of the things that every time when I talk to my students, they always complain about the issue of artificial intelligence in reference services. To say that if we have FISO there at the National Library who can answer students' questions, then what is it that librarians are going to do in the library, because there's already someone who's doing that. But for me, it's about improving services, because we are already struggling with our users. I normally visit our library here at the University of Limpopo, and you find that there's a queue of users who wants to ask questions to the reference librarians. And that says that if we had FISO there, the University of Limpopo library, it was going to be easy. And also what we can also see is with regards to cataloging and classification, it is always improved with the use of artificial intelligence. And again, with preservations, it can also be improved with the introduction of preservation. My colleague also spoke about the issue of COVID-19. And I always tell people that as much as we did not want to accept that the artificial intelligence is there to stay in the country and around the world, when COVID came, it was probably the time that this artificial intelligence was accelerated. We had no choice but to accept it. Things has to go on. There were times where we felt that the academic year has been lost in both high schools and primary schools, and also in universities and University of Technology. But with the introduction of artificial intelligence, the academic year was saved, and the students were able to continue with studying and learning. And that tells you the importance of adopting this artificial intelligence in libraries. And as those things are changing, even how we provide our users with library information services needs to change. As I'm speaking to you at the University of Limpopo, we are still a virtual university, I will call it that way. All the classes are still conducted virtually, except few faculties like your Faculty of Health Sciences, and also some students that are doing accounting. So they are face-to-face, but the rest of all the faculties are on virtual learning. It's only the assessment that we are doing face-to-face. So you can imagine if there was not this blackboard that we are using, how was it going to be? When I got this invite from my colleague, I was under the impression that this is going to be face-to-face, and I was already starting to, worry. I have to travel to Johannesburg. But when he came back to me and told me that no, this is going to be virtual, I said, oh, man, that will make my life easy. If I will be in Joburg, I'll still be able to attend this meeting. If I'm in Lukwani, I'll also still be able to attend this meeting. So it is always a better way to adopt this artificial intelligence. But I think what we have seen in South Africa is that there's this selective adoption of artificial intelligence in the workplace. I mean, people are resistant to change, we do understand, but there are those things that benefit them, that they adopt, but there are those that they don't want to adopt. Like, for example, the issue of working from home. I mean, I was very excited when we were told that we are going to work from home, and it gives me a lot of times to be at home with the kids and the grandkids, and also gives me a lot of time to look after my gardens and so on and so on. But on the other hand, when there are other things that are coming on board, like, for example, the whole thing of invigilating online, where you have to sit on your computer for the next 3 hours and invigilate students and make sure that they are not copying. That was also something that I did not like. So I was selecting the artificial intelligence that I can use. Those that advantaged me, I wanted to adopt them and was not resistant to change. But those that were not benefiting me, I was asking questions, why do they have to do this? So those are some of the things that we need to look at as librarians, that we must embrace all the artificial intelligence that is being brought to us, so that whatever that is available, we make use of it and we run with it. Because unfortunately, that is where our users are moving into what? When the social media were introduced in South Africa a few years ago, everyone was worried that we should not bring our users into the social media. But a few years later, we realized that in order for us to communicate with our users, to market our services, we need to use the social media. And now, as we speak, we've adopted the social media, we're running with the social media. I know what is going on. And I'm sure I need to go back to what I said earlier about the guys that are working in Randburg Library. I hope they're here today. They are doing an excellent work. They are marketing their services. They are doing everything in their power to make sure that they are visible. But they are also, and maybe that is the reason why they were able to get even donations. They are using this social media very well to market their services to the users. And we must commend them if there's anything that they are doing, that the other librarians can learn from them, that this is how we need to do, and this is where we need to go as librarians. But that is not all that we can embrace. There are other artificial intelligence that we can talk about that can be very helpful to our users, especially those that do think that can benefit our user and improve our library information services to our user. The most important thing that we need to keep in mind as we adopt this artificial intelligence is that we must keep in our mind that the users are at the center of all these things. If we adopt this, it must not be for us, it must be for the users. As much as we don't want to adopt them, we are scared of change, but on the other hand, we must always keep our users in mind that they are here and we must serve them and we must give them quality library and information services. I think I will stop here, say Mbambo, and maybe if there's any still time for me to continue, I have other things that I wanted to talk about, but we will talk about them later when we have covered almost everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Makgatlela, for sharing so much insight on the artificial intelligence and also for reminding us what's currently trending and what's currently happening within libraries, not only focusing on, let me say, or on a national level, because I know we still have challenges thinking that artificial intelligence, it's only existing in other countries. If I may use, for example, the European countries, but it's also happening here in South Africa, as we have also articulated that it's happening National Library, University of Pretoria, and then also in other libraries within the municipalities and within also the departments that are doing great also on using the platform of artificial intelligence in terms of marketing their services and the worth and the importance of libraries. Thank you so much, Prof. Makgatlela. Without wasting much of time, I would like also to open the platform, since it's a dialogue. If there are any questions that may be also on the floor, as one of our HELIC coordinators, Ms. Nomoya, is going to also facilitating or taking care of the questions within the chats. And then also, if there are any maybe questions that may be directed or on the floor, so that at least we have a meaningful engagement as our two hosts, or let me say a guest, they've already prepared the setting so that what we can engage more on about artificial intelligence, so that we can enlighten one another. Because I've noticed that most of us within the library sector, sometimes we feel like AI, artificial intelligence, is here to take our jobs. Well, but it's not about really taking our jobs, but it's there to support us. And then also there are a lot of things that we can engage in, and then so that we share with each other the insight or not we can do to make sure that we advance our services, and then we become more productive within the sector of library information services. Thank you so much again, from the Director of City of Johannesburg, Ms. Nobuntu Nompendulo, for also sharing the meaningful insight with us that we're already using AR, even though we like complaining at some point as librarians, but we're already on the 4th industrial revolution. Yes, there are challenges, as Prof. Makgatlela has already articulated, that due to infrastructure and also in terms of financial constraints. Yes, but then I would like to open the floor also to maybe 5 questions, so that at least when we engage in the dialogue, so that our guest speakers can also assist us so that we engage. So on the platform, I would like to open for at least a minimum of 5 questions. Are there any questions, or should I allow our guest speakers to continue?
Chair-elect.
Yes, I'm here.
Can I just come in, just a comment? Thank you, first of all, to our presenters. But there are just so many things that flood one's mind the minute we talk about artificial intelligence. Because first and foremost, what is this artificial intelligence? because the thing is we get overwhelmed sometimes, but it has been with us for quite a while. As Prof. Makhatlela has mentioned, it has actually been used in cataloging and so on and so forth. And the systems that we use in the libraries, to a large extent, this automation, in and of itself, it's some kind of artificial intelligence of sort. But the thing is, for me, when I look at this concept, I ask myself, as librarians, where are we filling in the gap? There's a gap that we need to look out for, that whilst artificial intelligence is there, what gaps can we fill? Because it is when we begin to fill these gaps that our worth will really be of value as librarians. What do I mean by that? It just means that there are things that these machines really can't do. These machines can't take a user and show the user around. If the user is in the library, explain in detail some things to a user and really train this user. We are actually, the way I see it, quite frankly, is that I think this is a time where we should now, as librarians, as humans, step in and say, here is a gap that has been opened by AI, where only we can actually fill. But we can continue to talk about those as we progress. But I just thought I should make this comment because I feel that we have so much role to play. Just a comment.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Nomo. Yeah, yes, for the comment. Yes, and also for sharing a wonderful insight on the comment that we need to engage more and then to see where we can use it to our advantage. Yes, we really appreciate the comment, Ms. Nomoya. To one of our speakers, is anyone who want to maybe to engage more on that comment?
Mr. Mbambo.
Yes, no, noted.
Okay.
There's somebody on the platform, Sfiso. I think Kolofela Makono. Or do you want me to come in before that? Sfiso?
Ms. Pendulo, I think you can come in. Yeah.
Okay,
yes, you may come
you.
in. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Namoya. You've actually raised something very fundamental, because we always underestimate the power of a human being. In fact, what you have raised, the issue of us, giving that in-person assistance and spending more time with the users, is going to become one of the fundamental things that we need to do as librarians. And I think the most important thing is that as Prof has indicated, the issue of artificial challenge is that librarians take time to adopt new changes. We are so afraid of transformation, in the sense that we don't actually see this revolution as related to what we have already done in the past. I mean, librarians have been responsible for contributing into ensuring that we have the best integrated library systems that we currently have. There's a lot of contribution that librarians have made there. And I mean, with these integrated library systems, We were able now to do seamless searches. We're able to use the discovery platforms through our OPEX. I mean, there is so much we can do, but also making sure that we don't waste a lot of time to do things that the system can do. And Prof has already mentioned the issue of processing of library material like cataloging and classification. You can imagine the amount of time that catalogers can have if we introduce or we contribute to artificial intelligence that will ensure that the computer can catalog and classify with very little effort. Then you reduce time for quality assurance, and also taking into consideration that we are losing a lot of catalogers at the present moment. Then your AI or your computer can be able to do some of these things with very little human interaction. But what I wanted to raise with Prof, which I thought I would get, especially coming from a library school, is how do we then, I mean, the big debate is that we need to look at the library curriculum. Do we need to relook at the library curriculum, or we need to look at what are the basic principles that creates a good librarian? And what are the skills that we can get from other people outside of the profession? Because there's also a debate that we don't want to make librarians computer sciences or computer engineers. What other skills can we bring in within our space? People who are not librarians. And I think for me, that is one of the important things. How do we then upskill or train our current librarians? So I think I would like to maybe get that input from Prof, because I think it is going to be very, very important, because we're expected to train users on digital literacy skills. And the issue is, as librarians, do we possess those skills? Can we train the community members if ourselves, we don't have those skills? And if we have to conduct, if we have to create content in terms of innovation, where do we get those skills? Who is going to train us as librarians in terms of ensuring that we are able to take our users with us, but also we are equipped as librarians? So I think for me, that is one of the fundamental issues that we need to look at, because as we adopt some of the 4 IR processes within the city of Johannesburg, the big issue is how do we take everybody with us? I know we go through a lot of change management programs, but how do we then convince everybody? How do we make sure that everybody is at the same level in terms of the skills? Because it is, unless you are prepared to do a lot of research and trial and error as a librarian, there is no school where you can then take those librarians, unless colleagues coming from universities can assist us. Thank you, Sviso.
Yeah, thank you so much, the director from City of Johannesburg, for sharing so much insight. Okay, I would like to take the opportunity to at least to give it to Prof, because I also had someone also asking something based on the current topic that we are raising today, or the current theme today, about the artificial intelligence. From what also Ms. Nobundu has also raised from City of Johannesburg Libraries, the director of City of Johannesburg Libraries, that the person was also asking, how do we bridge a market, as the director has articulated? Prof, I would like to hand it over to you on that platform, Prof Makatlela.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mbambo. I actually want to just also add a comment that will also answer some of the questions that were asked. The first one was about the curriculum, and also the second one was about the issue of the system developers that we rely on. Let me tell you that as librarians, we are unfortunately deprived of an opportunity to develop our own systems. So in many cases, we rely on other people to develop our own systems. And this has negatively affected how we get the systems and what kind of system do we get. An example could be what CETA has done. I mean, not being personal to CETA, but they took away the library information services systems that we use in libraries, and they decided to build their own systems. And they stopped any government department from buying a system from outside. But they're also still buying those systems from outside South Africa. And that has actually become a problem. I don't think there is any problems with what CETA has done, but we need to be involved in the developing and the building of the system as librarians, so that we know what is it that it's being built for our users. We know our users better than anyone else. And as it stands even today, the systems that the CETA has suggested to us as librarians is still not working correctly. I mean, you go to provinces. I just gave you an example of Limpopo province. I mean, very few libraries in this province have the library systems working. And I know even in Mpumalanga, most of the libraries do not have the systems in their libraries. And that has been a problem to us. And in the past, when municipalities and also cities were allowed to build their own library systems, everything was working perfectly. I used to work at the Northcote Manor Library in Randburg there, and they had their own system that was working perfectly. And we never had problems with that. So I don't know what systems they are using in Joburg now, but that is the problem that we have, where we have to rely on other people to build our system for us and for our users. And in many cases, they just bring something to us and we have to adopt whether we like it or not. And that has created a problem. Now it comes to the second comment that I want to make with regards to how is it that, or what is it that we can do as LIS School to transform our transformation, to make sure that we are bringing a new librarians in the field that knows how to even code or adopt, build systems for us. Currently, the new LIS framework, LIS qualifications framework that we have is not talking about that. But when you look at other LIS schools around the world, they are already moving into a stage where they are able to train data scientists, data miners, systems developers, so that if you want to develop a system for your users, you have to be involved and you have to have some background on that part, so that you are able to assist those people that are developing the system to be done in line with what you need, unlike having to rely on people to just bring a system to you and you have to accept it as it is. Whether it's working for you or not, they actually don't care. So the type of curriculum that we need to include in our training of library information professional currently is where we have to bring in things like data mining, system development, and also other fields that are related to that. We cannot sit down and watch people build systems for us. And if you look at the introduction of e-journals in South Africa, I started working with electronic journals some years back when I was working for the South African Reserve Bank. And one of the things that we were doing was to go out to all the vendors and or the database suppliers and speak to them. And what we found out at that time was most of the people that were working for these vendors were actually librarians. Those were the people. I mean, if you look at the Sabinet, for example, a lot of colleagues at Sabinet, most of them are qualified librarians. You go to EBSCO-Host, we used to have some librarians that were working and they would go around and speak to us about the system. You go to Butterworths, LexisNexis, they were also working more or less with librarians. Even now, as you speak, I still have some librarians or some of our students that are working there. And it was helpful because when they came to us, they would speak to us and they understand our language as library information professionals. And when they go back to their system developers that they speak to them and that they work closely with them, they were able to know, this is what our users want. This is what our clients want. And we as librarians will tell those people that are working with those system developers, this is what our users want. Please, as you build the system, make it a point that it's aligned to this. So that is one curriculum that we need to include in our training of library and information professionals. But unfortunately, we are also guided by the new qualification framework that has been put together by CHE that we all have to follow. And one of the things that it talks about, it exclude ICT in library, we totally exclude ICT. The only ICT that we are talking about is the one that we are applying in the library information services. But as it stands, that is something that is missing and we need to include that in our training. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Makashela from University of Limpopo for sharing so much insight. Yes, indeed, it's true. Because in most cases, if we may have people from, let me say, service providers providing libraries or providing, yes, the academic libraries, whether it's public libraries, with systems that maybe they don't speak or communicate to the services that are being provided, then it becomes a challenge. So much, thank you so much, Prof, for sharing so much insight that we need to be involved as libraries or as librarians also when it comes to development of such systems, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence. Yes, thank you so much for such insight that you have shared so much, Prof. Yes, and thank you so much also to the Director of City of Johannesburg Libraries for also enlightening us, giving us the opportunity at least to engage in such kind of dialogues. I know with such dialogues, it doesn't happen every time that we have such kind of dialogues so that we enhance services within the LIS sector and then also within the curriculums. But we are so much glad that we're having this opportunity today. And the platform is still open for those maybe who may also have questions that they want to bring forth or to raise them, so that at least since our hosts are still here, to engage and at least to try or to do our best to come up with solutions and also on how to advise each other on tackling the issues that have to do with AI and also the impact of AI. As also the sub-theme also articulates that is artificial intelligence an opportunity or a threat? We also need to look at the aspects. I know our guests and our hosts, if I may say, they've already taken us through so that we start looking at artificial intelligence with another eye. Yes, it does have a threat, as Prof. Makatlev stated, but yes, the platform is still yours if there's anyone who has a question.
My hand is up, Chair-elect.
Okay, Doctor, Gauteng Chairperson, Dr. Raduba, the platform is yours.
Thank you very much, the Chair-elect, and thanks a lot to our presenters, Prof. Makashela and Ms. Nobunju. I just want to make a follow-up to the City of Johannesburg Director, Ms. Nobunju. I'm interested in hearing from her, how far is City of Joburg in implementing the AI? Are you having a robot now, ma'am? Are there any products we are using? Because now, remember, this is a good platform where we are sharing the good practices. So I'm just interested in hearing from your side and your municipality. How far are you with that? If you can just share, maybe in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, our chair from Gauteng South Branch, to the director of City of Johannesburg Library. Okay, I know that our chairperson from Gauteng South has raised a question. No, the platform is yours,
Okay.
our director.
Okay, thank you, Spiso, and thank you, Ntabiseng. Prof has already indicated the whole issue of the cost associated with this technology. But at a very simple and basic level, we, as the City of Johannesburg, as a result of COVID-19, we started adopting the use of Facebook as one of the platforms for our service delivery. It started during the COVID-19, where librarians created content. I know it started, when we started, there was a lot of trial and error. But if you look at most of the content that is on that Facebook page, you can actually see that there is a lot of work, and also people have actually, they are more skilled now in terms of producing the videos. So content creation has already started. And I think that is one of the things that we have been trying to train a number of staff members to make them understand that we must not always be consumers of content. We must also create content. So that is already happening within the city. And also one of the things that we have been working on, just to go to what Prof was talking about, the CETA library system. As the City of Johannesburg, we have refused to use the CETA library system because when we looked at it, it could not address most of our needs. And we decided to come up, we started our tender from scratch, where we drew up the business requirement specification in terms of our ILS tender to ensure that it incorporates everything that we need. We're still at a tender stage, so I'm not going to share a lot of information about that because I am not allowed. But just to give you an idea of what our new library system is going to incorporate, which I think will have a lot of AI features. It's going to facilitate the digital content, as I have already indicated. And it's also going to be, we will be able to digitize some of the, we'll also use it in terms of digitizing some of our collections that we have within the city. But we're also hoping that it's going to have the discovery platform, which has got an AI, which already embeds artificial intelligence, and also the issue of using that particular system to ensure that we are able to analyze the data, the data that we'll be collecting, whether from our users, what our users search for, and also ensure that our users are able to have the library or to access the library at any time. So our real aim about this new library system is that we want to have a library at the palm of your hand. So the system is also going to introduce an app so that anywhere, anytime, wherever you are, if you've got internet access, you are able to access the library of the city of Johannesburg. So we actually now conforming to libraries without wall or just in time. You access the library at exactly the time that you want to. So that's one of the things that we are incorporating into that library system. And also, I mean, it is becoming more important that we enable people to access our library outside of opening hours. Our online resources that we provide within the city are also going to assist us. In fact, already they are being used by communities outside of the library walls. I mean, as you know, our e-books and our e-newspapers, but also we're using a lot of MS Teams within the city for our meetings, for workshops, for a number of activities. But I think what is going to be very important with the library system, as I've indicated, is the ability to analyze the data and the ability to produce reports that we can use to ensure that we are able to go back to the politicians to say, this is the value that the library is bringing, and we are able to ask for more budget. Yeah, it's still a long way, and Tabiseng, but I think we're just taking steps because as I can also mention to you, we are now working on the digital transformation strategy, which we hope to finalize by the end of this first quarter, so that we are able to implement most of the programs that adopt the fourth industrial revolution as the city of Johannesburg Library. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the wonderful insight and also for the wonderful response from Ms. Nobuntu Pendulo from City of Johannesburg Libraries for sharing so much insight. Yes, because with some of the let me say the AI, artificial intelligence, I've also noticed something that with users from City of Johannesburg libraries, they can also apply for membership online using the COJ e-learning. I have noticed yes, so it does allow them. Thank you so much for a wonderful insight. To Dr. Ratuba, hopefully I think it's been answered the question. Yes, noted.
So I've been raising my hand since Fellow here.
Okay, now I'll give you an opportunity, Fellow. The platform is yours.
Okay, no, thank you so much, colleagues. I just wanted to comment of these AR technologies, because whether is it a threat or an opportunity to my, I think it is both, because now we talk of book sorting machines, we talk of inventory taking robots, we talk of collection points. So some colleagues might feel that what will I be doing if I have a machine that is going around doing the book sorting and so forth. But however, it goes back to that we librarians, we need to go and upskill our skills so that we are the ones who are going to feed those robots with information or program them. So for me, I don't see them as a threat, but an opportunity to go out there to upskill ourselves. But again, where do we go to? I would like to concur with the previous speakers where they said that we need to relook at the curriculum at the university so that we produce the librarians that are skilled to work hand in hand with these machines. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kulfelo, for the insight. Yes, indeed, that's true. Yes, we need to relook and so that the curriculums be aligned. Thank you so much for the comment. Thank you so much. Colleagues, I'd like to also allow Ms. Nomoya, our HELIC convener from the Gauteng South, just to go through the comments so that no one is left behind. Because I see certain hands, I'm also missing them. Yes, due to the device I'm using, since there's load shedding. So when you are using more than one device, so that yes, at least we have an interrupted connection. Okay, Ms. Nomoya, the platform is yours.
Mr. Mbambo.
Thank you, Sister.
Oh, okay, Ms. Nomoya, may I please allow Prof to go through just for a second, then I will hand over to you, Ms. Nomoya. Prof, you may continue, Prof Makhatlela.
Okay, no, I just wanted to add a comment also to say that as much as we talk about us as LIS professionals being, having some resistance to change and fears on this new AI, I must say that the young generations of librarians have actually embraced this AI in libraries. And I can talk about a few of them. I mean, there's few librarians that I've seen that they're all over social media. Some of them I don't know, some of them I know personally. But every time when I see what they post about what they are doing in their library, it tells me that, what we have done as library information services, LI schools in South Africa, we've produced librarians who have adopted this AI and they are running with it very well. So we must never be afraid because those that are already using them, I can talk about people like Siklesi Bia, Lindanis Kakani, Duncan Siboni, Mr. Lesele, and also Nonjabulo. Those are some of the people that I've seen on social media every day posting about what they are doing in their libraries, but also in other areas, in other libraries in Tshwane and also in Eguruleni. I've seen librarians that have taken this AI and they're running with it and it's working well for them. We must never be afraid to adopt and embrace this AI. It will work better for us and also work better for our user. As I said earlier, we are user-centered type of services. So whatever that we do, it must be in the interest of our users. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much for the comment and also for the insight. Yes, because I know usually as librarians, we don't usually brag about the services and AI activities that we're engaged in. And then that's why we have Librarians Day, so that we can engage into such and then also brag about such. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much. Ms. Nomoya, over to you.
Thank you, Chair-elect. Let me quickly run through the messages on the chat, and then perhaps our presenters can just take note of those that they would like to respond to quickly. So the first one is from Ms. Nobuntu, just making a comment here saying Nestle Bar 1 is donating inverter and solar panels for Randburg Library. I'm just going to read all of them and just make notes where you want to come in, presenters and everyone else. The second one is from Mavalani Library. And this person is saying artificial intelligence is good. However, it will never remove a human touch. It can help in all ways to effectively provide good service. Next one from Ms. Nobuntu. Facebook has become one of the platforms used by COJ libraries to deliver services, and it is very popular. These ones are just saying from Ramabina here, great presentations, and thank you very much, Prof. Makhatlela. Great presentation again from Mashudu. Simon saying well-articulated presentations, and Dr. Ntabi saying, wow, a big thank you to our guests. The next one, I can't read the name, I think it's Xiaomi, saying great presentation from both speakers. I'd like to know, here is a question here, I'd like to know, what is the difference between automation and AI? That's actually a key question, I think, for our presenters to please note that question. The next comment from Mahoshi, Uber Books delivery service for resources requested by students from their hostel rooms at night could be very user-friendly, as customers are kept, I guess, and librarians can improve evening services, and the library usage can increase for statistics purposes and also for satisfaction, and the also satisfactions are met in time when those resources are needed. So librarians must keep a record of resources. So just a rough thought. So yes, a good one, a good comment there about really delivering these books to the students. 5IR, this is Tolagele. 5IR does intensify human and machine collaboration. From Rasnath is saying, I heard Prof speaking more of academic libraries and institutions of higher learning. Here's a question. How about the public libraries that first of all hardly get this technology? This is a question to really note. Another question from Albert. Another issue that will hold us back is the number of people who live in rural areas where technology is old, slow, or non-existent. So it's a similar question on technology in rural areas. The issue starts with people not having access to technology and not being taught the necessary skills. For the 4IR or AI to succeed, the government will need to find ways to include all people in the revolution. If South Africa can focus on developing everyone in the country, there is no doubt that 4IR will benefit everyone. The next question, I'm almost done. The next question is, how big is the network issue within the library community? That's from Joanri. Spondo is saying, very much supporting the issue of looking on library schools and curriculum on 4IR. Tolagele, Lungile is just saying, thank you, Tolagele. We'll attend, I think there's an invitation here. So Tolagele is inviting catalogers. She's saying, I would like to encourage catalogers on metadata librarians or specialists to attend the upcoming AFLIA Wikidata online course, cohort 2. One of these course objectives is to develop skills and understanding in the use of Wikidata as a database and visualization tool for mapping knowledge and for connecting collections through linking local metadata with a network of global metadata, and it is free. Thank you, LIASA, for sharing this course information with us. So this is just an invitation. Ms. Nobuntu is saying, as the city of Joburg, we refuse to use the CETA ILS. We have just gone on a tender for an ILS that will serve our community and address most of our needs. We started from drawing our own business requirement specs, over 100 pages. Even though we are looking for an off-the-shelf system, it should incorporate what is on our specs. So almost the last comment now, based on the last speaker, just to add, the challenges you are facing to implement the changes on 4IR, I'm not sure. This is just asking what are the challenges there. From Kenny, it would be of great benefit as a metro city, also benchmark with other metro cities. No metro cities should be left behind. They should be more relevant to work than with academic libraries in most cases. It's a comment. Joanri is saying, hi, I need to drop off. All right. The last comment, I think, is saying from Nobuntu, COJ is already working closely with University of Johannesburg Library Services and learning a lot from their advanced ICT systems. Change management is crucial. Right, I think there's two last ones. I wanted to stop, but let me just read these two. From Susan here, from a higher learning institution perspective, how effectively can we ensure AI does not affect the quality of graduates produced? GPT and probably referencing articles and papers, a question there. From Mariette is saying AI is designed to simulate human thinking, setting up robots to follow the predefined rules. I think this is answering that question about AI and automation. And automation is designed to follow pre-programmed rules, setting up of robots. So I think Mariette is trying to explain AI and automation. I think let's stop there and hand over to you, Chair-elect, to facilitate further.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nomoya, for sharing with us the charts, and also for assisting us to go through the charts, and then also to allow our presenters or our guest speakers at least to answer some of the questions, because I believe some, yes, they have been answered. And then thank you so much also for the other comment from one of the, let me say, from one of our participants who attempted at least to answer, so that all of us will have an idea of the difference between AI. Yes. I would like to hand over to our guest speakers if anyone is ready to answer some of the questions that were not answered from the charts. Ms. Nobuntu from the State of Johannesburg Libraries, are you still with us?
I'm still with you.
Okay, I wanted to ask if there's any question that you may wish to answer on the charts, or is it okay?
I think it's okay. I think the last, I'm trying to get into, I don't know why I'm not, oh yes, I can see what Mariette has said. AI is designed to simulate human thinking, and automation is designed to follow pre-programmed rules. You know, I think this is very, very fundamental. I actually wanted to show you something. I'm not sure whether I will be able to share the screen. Let me try and see. When I was doing the research on artificial, can you see that?
Yes. And not.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can see.
Can you see that? You know,
yes, it's visible.
You know, when I mean, with automation, remember, it was that whole issue of automating, you know, making machines to work automatically. But when you look at artificial intelligence, that picture is very, very important, because it tells you exactly how artificial intelligence then differs from just ordinary automating a particular function. Because with artificial intelligence, the machine is taught to learn certain things. If you look at the first one, which is the artificial narrow intelligence, it specializes in one area and solves one problem. Like, for instance, you know Alexa, and you know those robots, which is Siri. You give them an instruction and they do what they're supposed to be doing. But then if you go to the next one, which is the stage 2, the machine intelligence, which is the artificial general intelligence, the computer, it is so smart. It will go through a broad, I mean, it is as smart as a human across the board. But then the artificial super intelligence, which is stage 3, it is an intellect that is much smarter than the human brains in practically every field. So I think we are still on stage 1 in terms of our artificial intelligence, even though there might be certain elements that are going into stage 2. But I think this is the very important picture so that we understand in artificial intelligence and how far are we in terms of our functions within the library space. But I think the explanation that has been given by Marite is actually very, I mean, it is the perfect definition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nobuntu, the director from City of Johannesburg, for sharing so much insight, and thank you so much also on giving the comment, let me say, more weight, and then so that at least we're all enlightened or what is the importance of artificial intelligence and then how does it differ. Thank you so much. Professor Makhatlela from University of Limpopo, is there any question or any comment that you'll also need to clarify on from our charts, looking at the charts?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mbambo. There are 2 questions that I want to answer. The first one is about the issue of public libraries not having any AI in their space. I think it was from Mr. Malangan. I can't remember who was it coming from. Now, in South Africa, we are having a serious challenge as a profession, and this comes from this issue of funding of library information services. We don't have a clear policy on where the funding for libraries is supposed to come from, even though the constitution is clear that the provincial government is responsible for providing library information services to the users. We have a challenge where in other municipalities and metro, people are getting services from their metro or from their municipalities. And that also, open gaps for government's department, especially provincial government's department to neglect their mandate that is being given to them. I mean, as it stands now, we depend on government's department to provide services, to provide library information services to the municipalities. And I'm not sure if they are doing that in municipalities. I mean, I can give you examples of rural municipalities that do not have even a single cent for library services. In many cases, they have to sit and wait for the province to provide them with funding. So that has created a problem. There's an issue of funding libraries. There's no enough resources in libraries, especially books and other reading material. We also have a challenge of staffing in libraries. So that is where the problems start. But when you compare the public libraries with the university libraries, there's a clear policy on who is responsible for funding academic libraries. We know that the money comes from the university, so the university have to provide funding for the library. It's just like what we see with the issue of accommodation at universities. It's still not clear who's responsible to build accommodations for students at universities. We have a challenge where the Department of Higher Education is saying that the universities are not supposed to be building accommodations. The accommodation must be built by the Department of Higher Education. So that is also something that has created a problem for accommodation for students at universities. Now, on the issue of technologies in rural area and outdated technology in rural area, it will always be a challenge on providing services to people in rural communities. To start with, the majority of them do not have access to library information services. So we're not even going to go to the issue of artificial intelligence. Maybe we can use artificial intelligence to accelerate the delivery of services for our people in rural communities. But currently, as it stands, it is just going to be a challenge for us to provide them with artificial intelligence if we are still struggling to provide them with a simple library and information services. Before we can introduce this artificial intelligence library, we should be having a library in our communities that people can be able to use and access. And that is where the problem would start. And by the time we provide them with library services, you may find that the libraries are the technology that they have in their libraries are outdated. We have a serious concern with the issue of funding for Wi-Fi in community libraries, especially in rural libraries. They've given contracts to companies that are unable to provide the sustainable access to Wi-Fi. We also have problems with things like the photocopy machine. I'm sure you've heard stories about the issue of photocopy machines in rural communities that are not working and have not been working for quite a long time. But we also have stories of no photocopy machine, no printing machine, no fax machine, nothing in community libraries. And that is a problem. And if we are going to talk about artificial intelligence, we need to start with those simple things. But most importantly, we need to start with access to libraries before we can move forward. Thank you, Ndadembamba.
Thank you so much, Professor Makhatla from University of Limpopo. Thank you so much. Yes, indeed, it's a fruitful insight. Thank you so much. Yes. Is there still any?
Fiso, you are not audible now. Fiso, are you there?
Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you so much, PRO. Yes, because I thought I was audible, but I was talking to myself this side. Thank you so much, Professor Makhatlela from University of Limpopo. Yes, for sharing so much insight also. Inside information and also unpacking, yes, from the comments and from the chats that we had received. Thank you so much. Yes. Is there still any question? Maybe one more question from the floor. If there's no any question, I would like to hand over to the PRO. But if there's any question.
Mr. Mbambo, before you go, can I just add a comment? Mahoshi talked about the issue of Uber driver delivering books to students in RES. I think, being around University of Limpopo has taught me something. Students these days, everything that they want, they buy it from, they buy it online and it gets delivered to them on campus. So maybe that is something that we need to look at. And students are actually using the Uber food very well. They order food and the food get delivered to their rooms. Maybe that is something that we also need to encourage our libraries to move into. But I also have a question that, and I hope I would be allowed to ask a question, even if I'm the guest speaker. Do we have any public libraries in South Africa that have introduced something that I've seen it's being used in many overseas libraries, where users are able to issue and return their own books? You get into a library, you take out your library card, you get the books that you want, you issue them to yourself, you desynthesize those books for yourself, and you walk out. Do we have any libraries that is doing that, especially public libraries? That was just a question to our colleagues, especially in the public library. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof, for the question. The question is open to the floor. If we have any public library, because I'm familiar with one academic library, but it's for the public libraries. So the question is open to the floor. Any public library to the question that Professor Makhatla from University of Limpopo has asked. Anyone can answer the question if there is any public library.
Fees or not, at the moment, I am not sure. Even with the city of Cape Town, that I know is always so advanced. But we are going there. At the current moment, we don't have it in the city of Johannesburg. And I know with the other public libraries in Gauteng and the metros, I am not aware of. But it is coming because, as I indicated, our new library system will also have the RFID component within it. But also, I was just going to say, as Fiso, before you close, I think just to address the question of whether AI is a threat or an opportunity, I want to say it depends on the agility of the organization. Or it also depends on how far your employees can adapt to change. Really, I think we are at a stage where we know it is necessary, and because it is necessary, we cannot, it has brought a lot of convenience in our lives. Let us then take those conveniences that have been brought by AI into the library space and make sure that this time around, as librarians, we are not left behind. Because the issue is that we let technologies develop and we only start adopting technology when our users demand them. We are always reactive. I mean, as librarians, but I can understand it's also sometimes a question of skills. But I think it is important that we close that gap now and start very small. Because I think the reason why sometimes people are still even scared of adopting digitalization is because they say to themselves, it's something very big, when in fact it is a matter of step by step. You can't wake up as a library system, especially public libraries, that has got so many challenges, and you already start with having a robot. Start small, and also understanding that this change that we are going to adopt into getting into AI, it is a journey, not a destination. We're not going to find ourselves fully equipped with all the AI resources. Let's start the journey step by step. And I think as leadership of the organizations, it is our responsibility to carry these changes and make sure that transformation, not only in terms of machines, make sure that we make a huge impact in terms of training our staff so that they get the skills and they adopt these changes, because whether you like it or not, you can have all the machines, but our employees are our best assets. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Nobuntu from City of Johannesburg Libraries, the Director of City of Johannesburg Libraries. Thank you so much for sharing insight, and thank you also for encouraging us and also libraries, public libraries, that we need to take baby steps and appreciate everything that we have. We're really thankful for the insight and for the insight that you have shared with us. Thank you so much. And thank you so much also, Prof. Makhatlela, for sharing with us and also for the wonderful presentation. I'm not closing yet. Yes, because there are a few, let me say, based on the program, there are a few items that are remaining that we'll need just to go through, but they're not going to take long. Thank you so much for the presentation. And I would like to give the opportunity to Ms. Nhlapo Lindi, if she's still with us, yes, to share with us. The platform is yours, Ms. Nhlapo Lindi. PRO?
Perhaps program director, she is in the waiting room. I've just emailed Apelele to check there as well. You can please continue with the program.
No, okay. Okay, thank you so much for sharing such a wonderful dialogue. from the City of Johannesburg libraries, and also from the University of Limpopo. Yes, the Ms. Prof. Makhatlena from University of Limpopo. Yes. Ms. Nomoya, are there any questions or comment in the meantime while we are allowing Ms. Nkapo to join us quickly?
Yes, I'm seeing here, Rachel is saying, as AI is here to stay, what are the skills needed? I think that's an interesting question indeed. Perhaps let me pause there, because I think that is actually the main question. The others are just comments. There's Apelele saying Msunduzi Public Library does, but users still prefer to go to the circulation desk. So Msunduzi Library seemingly has an automated check-in and check-out system. It looks like, yeah, but the users prefer to go to the circulation desk. But the big question is really, what skills do we need to cope with artificial intelligence? Over to our presenters, perhaps.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Nomoya. Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Nomoya. Yes, I know our presenters, they've answered some of them, maybe just to iron it out quickly, and also to Professor Makhatla from University of Limpopo. I believe, yes, the same Msunduzi Library, yes, in KZN, yes.
Okay, just some of the competencies that will be required for information professionals. I think one of them is the high-level digital literacy skills. That is one of the most important skills that is needed currently, because we cannot, as librarians, want to introduce digital access when actually we don't have digital literacy skills. Data analytical skills, we need people who will be able to analyze, data, so that this data will be used in decision making. Research skills, I am not sure whether our librarians do a lot of research, especially in terms of the new developments within our field. Because if you don't do the research and you are not able to apply whatever you research in terms of improving service delivery and productivity, then it means there is something that we are missing as librarians. And I think we need to be content creators. We need to be able to create something new. When we went to the change management program, training program at the University of Johannesburg, we learned so much with the maker spaces, and also how librarians are creating videos, they are creating, gosh, now it is slipping my mind, but there is so much that they are doing in terms of helping the users within the library. So we need to create that content ourselves. But I had said from the beginning, maybe as librarians, even though we can upskill ourselves, we also should not be afraid to bring other skills within librarianship. Like we need people who have degrees in computer science. We need people with degrees in information systems. We also need people with degrees in marketing, people who specialize within their fields. And then we can learn from those skills. Otherwise, if we say we want to know everything that happens in terms of computer science or computer engineering, we might take a long time. But I think what is also becoming very important at this point in time is the issue of app development. So we need to have programmers. Are we going to train the librarians, or are we going to get people who already have skills in coding and programming? I think that is what I'm still grappling with. Do we train our staff, or do we bring the skills and ensure that we then have a mix of skills within our spaces? Thank you.
Thank you so much. From the City of Johannesburg, the director, Ms. Nompendulo. Yes, that's a question that she is bringing forth to us. It means it's a food for the thought that we need to start thinking, or when we live here, we need also to engage more and think more. If are we bringing trainers, or are we taking our own librarians or library staff to trainings in terms of programming? Yes, since we know that we're already doing also some other minor codings. Yes, thank you so much. Is Ms. Nhlapo in already? Linda Nhlapo?
Yes,
No,
I'm
you can
in.
continue.
Yeah, I'm in. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, yes,
colleagues.
you may continue. Thank you. The platform is yours. Bambo, the program director of the day, chair-elect of the Gauteng South. Ms. Nhlapo, the platform is yours.
Am I supposed to say something?
Okay, the PR also said you wanted to say something. That's why.
No, I just wanted to join, but I mean, when I
To-
tried earlier, it said it was full. Now I was just exploding to say I'm left out. No, I've got nothing, but I wish everybody well. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. I believe there will be a recording for those maybe you who missed some of the important session parts or during the presentation. I believe our head office, LIASA, will provide us with the recording. Yes, hopefully PR. I hope they will provide us with the recording so that we share and distribute it for those maybe who may need to catch up. Yes, on the discussions on our dialogue. PRO, over to you if there are any announcements or yes.
Thank you, Program Director. We are 4 minutes away from the finishing time. I just wish to announce on the branch that with today's program, the next thing that we would be doing would be the closure at the end of the year. But I wish to encourage people, when the time for new office bearers come, they participate and take the Gauteng branch further. When the national office sends out invitation, for chairperson, chair-elects, and so forth, I'm encouraging our branch people that they participate. Other than that, I wish to end there and hand over back to you, Mr. Mbambo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, PRO. And thank you so much to the participants and also to our wonderful hosts, Ms. Nobuntu, Ms. Nobuntu from City of Johannesburg Libraries, the director, and also from Professor Makhatlela from University of Limpopo. Yes, we know that you are all having a busy schedule and hectic schedule, but we appreciate the time and effort, including to our participants, the librarians, whether it's from the public or the academic or private institutions. I would like to give this opportunity to my chairperson, Dr. Ratuba. Hopefully you're with us because I know you're also having a hectic schedule at the moment. Doctor?
Thank you very much, Chair-elect. Without any waste of time, I just want to thank everyone who supported our event. I was reading one article that was distributed by UKS, where they were talking about librarians. It was during the celebration of librarians are loyal, librarians are wise, librarians are organized, they are logical. As this is happening today, because we saw we have invited our leadership, Prof and Ms. Nobuntu. They are here. They were so loyal to observe our invitation to come and share their expertise with us. We really appreciate that indeed. We really appreciate that as the branch. And we want to say thank you so much, leadership, for your supportive, for our branch and all the members who attended this libraries on the 10th, but all the branches are requested by our national office that we need to do something to observe and to acknowledge our LIS employees. Thank you so much. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Ratuba, the chairperson of the Gauteng South branch. Yes, thank you so much. Our session is officially closed, and those who are driving or those who are still at work, have a wonderful Librarians Day. Since we are celebrating it throughout the whole week, and also please participate in other programs that are still remaining. Thank you so much. The meeting is officially closed. Thank you.